This is breaking news.
Good evening, I'm Dan Rice, live in Chopper 2 over Brooklyn. You're looking down at a massive 5-alarm fire that began right around 6 o'clock this evening on Bushwick Avenue at the corner of Cooper Street. You can see smoke billowing off of multiple buildings here. From what we understand, this fire started at a supermarket, Krista's Kitchen and Market, on the corner of Cooper and Bushwick. We'll come around the buildings here, and you'll see firefighters working on that building. That's that single-story building down there that you see where the flames are coming out of. The origin of the fire, what caused the fire, that's not known at this point, and so far no reports of any injuries. Unfortunately, the bad news is this has also collected several buildings next to the building that caught fire. We'll bring the camera out here. We're hearing at least 4 other buildings are caught up in this fire. As we come around, you can see that smoke billowing off of multiple structures. You have a couple of 3-story buildings over here on Bushwick that you can see the smoke coming out of both the roof and the back windows of the building adjacent to the market. We'll come back over here along Cooper, and it appears at least one other building has been caught up in this fire. We see firefighters going into another building over here on Cooper Street. Again, the cause of the fire not yet known, but you can see firefighters doing their best to try to get this fire under control. We'll come back out here with the camera and show you the front of the building here. You can see where they had the one tower ladder just pouring water into the building there. We see the name of the market on top. We had a couple of cars parked in the parking lot, but again, no reports of any injuries at this time. Look at the buildings over here on Bushwick, and you can see the windows on the 3rd floor. They've been either knocked out or blown out by the fire that's there, and damage to that building right next to it. The white one is that's connected to that other building there. All that on the Bushwick side of the fire scene. We'll come over here to the intersection of the 2 streets, and what you'll see is a large crowd has gathered over here to watch what is happening in their neighborhood. You see people, spectators on the sidewalks over here. We'll come back out though and show you there's still that 5-alarm fire response that has many streets in the area blocked off as a result. So obviously if you are in this area of Brooklyn, you want to stay away from Cooper and Bushwick. We see on the other side of Cooper Street, left side of your video, that's going to be St. Thomas Protestant Episcopal Church. At the moment, that does not appear to be in any danger of the fire jumping over that side. You see the wind blowing the smoke the other way, away from the church. But again, other buildings being caught up in this fire down here. We'll come back in here with the camera, and you can see a couple of firefighters that are in the one tower ladder. We see a massive amount of fire still coming out of the roof area of the supermarket itself, and crews doing their best to try to get that fire under control. That dark smoke, never a good sign. That means the fire is getting more fuel, consuming more of the building. So it's definitely they definitely want to get a handle on that area of the building. Try to get that white smoke that we see sometimes, that steam. That would indicate that they're getting a handle on the fire, but right now it's still that darker gray smoke that's coming out of the building. And again, you can see those flames that are still coming out of the back side of that market. It looks like it's consuming a good portion of that roof, so it wouldn't be a surprise at some point if a part of that roof doesn't collapse back into the building. You see quite the effort being made right here from an external attack there. We see at least 5, possibly 6 tower ladders up trying to get some sort of angle on the different areas of the fire. And we'll come back around that smoke we had seen over on the Cooper Street side. Some of the firefighters up on the roof of a couple of the buildings on that side of the fire. As a matter of fact, we can zoom in back here and you can see those firefighters that use the tower ladder to get up. They'll try to get some hoses extended or try to do the best they can to try to get another angle on that fire. But as we come around, you see as smoke just comes rolling back over the firefighters in that area. So obviously a very tough scene down there for the firefighters to try to get a handle on, try to get the situation under control. Again, if you are just joining us, this is a 5-alarm fire that is burning in Brooklyn at the intersection of Bushwick Avenue and Cooper Street. Cooper Street's the one that's towards the bottom of your screen over here where we're zooming into. And again, this all started in a supermarket, Krista's Kitchen and Market. That began around 6 p.m., so a little over an hour ago is when they got the first calls. And again, that's where we see a bulk of the flames that are still coming out of the building over here. You can see the firefighters trying to get a handle on it with the hoses. No word yet on what caused that fire, but again, the good news at this point, there is no word of any injuries. But of course, we'll see as the night goes on how these firefighters fare here and what else we can get from the crews on the ground down here. If you look at the buildings that are next to it, this is the Bushwick Avenue side of the intersection. If you look along the roof line there towards where the smoke is coming up, you can see the flames coming out of the back of the one adjacent building, and of course over here on the roof on the second adjacent building, and there's also flames coming out of that structure as well. Again, we have seen that the windows on the Bushwick side of those buildings have either been blown out or knocked out by firefighters. So rather tough situation for the FDNY down here, trying to see if they can get this fire under control before it spreads to other buildings. We see this building down over here, not quite sure what that building is down there. When we read the signs on the side of it, you can see it's listed as a learning center. It appears to be some sort of daycare center, at least the equipment on the top of the roof there. When we come back around from the fire, you'll see that there's also children's toys, play equipment, a playground type of setting on top of that building. So firefighters trying to keep those other buildings that have yet to be caught up in the fire from being, being in the line of the embers there. And of course, the way that smoke is blowing, what you'll notice is when it comes up there, it will carry some of the embers from those flames, and that's how the other buildings get caught up in the situation down here. We'll come back in with that camera and give you an idea of the firefighters on the Cooper Street side, how they're trying to get any type of water onto those flames. Again, this is listed as a market and a kitchen, so clearly there is probably equipment inside that building that they would cook with. So obviously some sort of situation in the back of that building is creating that fire scene that you're looking at down there, and it almost has the appearance right now through that smoke that some of that roof may have already collapsed into the building. As a matter of fact, as we come back around here, it looks like we can see some of the support beams where the roof would be sitting. So clearly crews doing their best to try to get that situation under control in some way. We can see down here the smoke coming out of the third floor of that building here. These buildings, mixed-use buildings, they have businesses on the bottom floors and then apartments on the upper floor. We talked about the daycare situation over here that appeared to be on the roof of this one building. You can see as we come around through the smoke, you can see that equipment that I was talking about there. So clearly crews are going to do their best to try to keep that fire from spreading over there to the other side of the block. Of course, that'd be over by Decatur Street. So crews will have their hands filled with that there, trying to get that under control. I'm going to bring the camera out all the way here. What you're going to notice is that smoke is just billowing up into the air. We're flying around the fire at about 1,500 feet, and the smoke there not very far from the bottom of our helicopter. So clearly the smoke traveling quite a bit of distance up into the air. So crews, again, doing their best to try to get everything under control. Once again, as we wrap up this coverage over here, we can show you this fire. It started at about 6 p.m. this evening. It's a 5-alarm fire. It's at the corner of Bushwick Avenue and Cooper Street. Nowhere to any injuries, but several buildings caught up in the situation down there. And, of course, as we get more details, we'll bring them to you and keep you updated as the evening goes on. Reporting live in Chopper 2, I'm Dan Rice, CBS News New York. We return you to your regular programming.
This has been breaking news.